Greetings, polynomials. Welcome back to Disenthrall. I will be Patrick Smith. You're not going to get to see my pretty face. Well, okay, here. We'll just, let's see. There. That's all the face you get for today. Today we're going to do a showcase walkthrough of what I consider to be the world's most awesome, premier, brand new, best-in-class community collaboration and communication app called Polynom, which you see on screen now. Well, you see the opening screen on screen now. I'm going to break this video in two parts. The first part is going to be for people that just want me to shut up and tell you how to get it and connect to the Disenthrall server. And then the part two of the video will be where we go into detail about how it works, what it is, what's awesome about it, how to customize it, and all that good stuff. So first, let me say, for everybody involved, what is Polynom? Think of Polynom as a replacement for things like Discord, things like Matrix, if you still use that awful thing, things like Slack or Microsoft Teams, or even Telegram groups. This can replace Telegram groups to a significant extent. Now, why would we want to replace those things? Well, by and large, many of those things are either using old technology. They're terrible to administrate, like Matrix. They use old encryption, like Matrix. They don't use any encryption, don't use end-to-end encryption, like Discord, like Slack, and these are centrally managed services that their parent companies can usually see everything you do on them. They can censor you, they can report you, they can control what you do and say, and you're beholden to the central sort of authority. And there's a lot of Liberty groups that use these services, especially Discord, especially Telegram groups. Look for our recent video where we told you why Liberty lovers should get off of Telegram pretty much as quickly as they possibly can. So, Polynom is a new answer to that. It is better than all of those in many categories that I'll get into in part two of this video. The short version of which is that it's self-hostable, it's end-to-end encrypted with post-quantum cryptography. It's the first in the world that does it. It's being written by a badass team of people that I personally trust. I have a long multi-year history with a guy named Ija, the head developer on this project. More on that in part two. Okay, so let's shut up and tell you how to get this thing first. They have clients right now for Android, Windows Desktop, Linux Desktop, and I think in a handful of weeks they'll have the iOS client as well. You start by going to Polynom.app, Polynom.app, and finding, you click download and selecting your client. Wow, it says Polynom iOS is currently available in the App Store. So I'm out of date on that. Apparently they already have iOS. That's awesome. Okay, so in this case today, I'm going to be showing you the Windows desktop version of the client, but the Android and the other client experiences are pretty much the same. You want to click the client button on the download page, unless you want to learn how to run your own server. That's a different video entirely. But you want to click the client for Windows. You want to click on Google Play for Android. I do think that they have some plans to make it distributable outside of Google Play. However, it's less of a concern because most of the content of I'll save that for part two of the video. They're encrypting even what Google sees when you're using the App Store to prevent Google from being able to spy on the content like they can on other apps that use the Play Store. That's the short version. So let's move on. Okay, so you download the client, you run it, you install it. Now this is what you see when you first start it, which brings up this concept that I don't think is unique to Polynom, but it's certainly pretty uncommon. And it's a really cool paradigm for how to manage your identity, your user account when using it. There is no central authority. There is no central server. The company, Code Siren in this case, is not a gatekeeper for your access to the software. The community version of the server is even free for people to download and use. The client is free for people to download and use. And because there's no central server, and because you're always connecting to someone's server, there's no central authority like Discord that can ban your entire account and delete all of your associations and weeks and months of, not right now, that can delete weeks and months of your associations and your chat logs and the content and the friends that you've made online. All that can be deleted and removed in an instant on things like Discord and Slack and Telegram even. This isn't like that. And the identity concept in play here is a really cool one. Your identity is yours. You can have as many identities as you want. Think of it just like a file on your computer, an account that you create that only you has and even has to know about, because it only exists on your computer until you connect to something with it. And like I said, you can have as many as you want. You can change them all the time if you want. And it's kind of like your identity when you're interacting with other servers and people. And that's the first thing you've got to do, is you have to have an identity when you're using Polynom. So the first thing you do is create one. How do you create one? Well, you can just enter your name, whatever name you want to go by. You can pick a few customization options, like I guess skin tone and masculine, feminine, whatever. Let's go masculine today. Now, what's happening behind the scenes using post-quantum cryptography, which we'll get more into later, is it's generating the encryption keys that your account is going to use for sending and receiving messages, files, voice communication, things like that. And each time you see one of these little people images here, behind the scenes, it has created a new cryptographic set of identities, like a new cryptographic set of keys. And what it does then is it runs that generated key that it's made through sort of a profile photo maker, let's say. And every identity has a unique visual look to it. So every cryptographic identity has a unique profile photo generated from it. There's, I don't know what the count is. It's like trillions of different combinations of these features. So you could literally sit here and regenerate these until your mouse finger falls off and you won't see the same one. The purpose of this we'll get into more in part 2, but it's because, you know, us humans we're meatbags and we're really good at noticing differences in faces and features like that. And so the idea behind this is sort of an anti-impersonation thing. If a specific look of a person is attached to a specific, like if we looked at 10,000 cryptographic keys, we wouldn't be able to distinguish them apart if somebody did a swap on us. But if somebody's entire photo changed from this one here to the next day, this one here, we might notice that something fishy is going on. So that's the short version of what these are for. So we can just click and keep regenerating these until we find something that appeals to us. And of course we can, some of them are quite entertaining looking. It's really hard to stop and like say, okay, that's the one, because you always want to keep clicking because you always you always think you might find something better next. So anyway, so you pick the one you want, you click next. You choose your color scheme that you like for the program. I'm going to go with, let's start with that. And then it wants you to tell it what server you want to connect to. Now, this is the thing, right? Like, there is no central operating authority Discord company running all the Discord servers that you have to connect to and get permission of. Anyone can run their own server. We're not going to talk about how to run your own server today. But it does want you to know, it does need to know which server you want it to connect to. It comes pre-populated with Polynom's public server that you can choose to connect to if you want, or you can connect to the Disenthrall server. And the address for that is Romeo Yankee Foxtrot Tango Disenthrall.me. Actually, I misspoke. That's rift.disenthrall.me. And then the port is 7331. Enter those information, click next. It asks you for a password. This password is to encrypt your local database on your own computer. You can choose to enter a password. This is optional. If you enter a password, it encrypts your local database so that if your computer or phone is stolen someday, whoever steals it will not be able to decrypt and read any of your conversations. For the purposes of this video, I'm not going to enter a password, but you can certainly choose to if you want. I'm going to click finish. And we're done. And I'm going to have to reset up the screen share here. Give me one moment. Hopefully this works. Yep, there it is. Okay, awesome. Look at that. So we are into the Polynom app. Now, this is what it looks like. For users of Discord, it'll probably be very familiar. Well, I mean, Discord is used to seeing the servers on the left, and you can do that by dragging it. But anyway, so part one of the video is complete. The people that just want to know how it's done and what the basics are and how to get connected, we're done. That's it. Now, for the rest of you that want more information and they want the backstory and they want to know the lore and more about the company and the people involved and the tech in play and the cool stuff, well, that starts now. And that's going to take probably a lot longer to go through. So, you know, kick your feet back, get some coffee, and let's have fun getting into this. Okay, so I want to begin the lore with a different program entirely. This program is called DemonSaw. This program is an open source app written by Ija, the same lead programmer that is now formed Code Siren, which is the company that makes Polynom. Same guy behind the scenes. He is a longtime crypto hacker guy. He's spoken at hacker cons many, many times. People in the biz will know who this guy is. I have followed him for a great many years. So far back that, oh, look, it's like glitching out with the mouse buttons on the side. All right, well, just ignore the jiggly mice. So I've followed Ija for a long time. Ija's not his real name. It's his nim. It's his alias, hacker alias. And he wrote this program called DemonSaw. And it is kind of in the same vein as what we're talking about. It's been sort of a known unknown. Like the people that knew about DemonSaw, and the people that didn't know, well, they subjected themselves to things like Matrix and other stuff like that. DemonSaw, this is an old app now. I mean, you can still download it and connect. I don't know that anybody uses it, but just Google for DemonSaw, one word, and you'll find the website for it. This is a program that pretty much competes with Discord and Slack and Telegram groups and kind of is in the same vein. Ija has been driven to create something like this for quite some time, and he's done it before, and he did it with DemonSaw. This is DemonSaw. We're looking at it here. There's still the A server that exists. There's still several servers that exist, and it provides basic stuff like chat, like file sharing, like social encryption, which we will talk about. This was something new. I'd never seen something like social encryption before. Just to show you real quickly. So we're connected to this DemonSaw, let's call it a server. It has a bunch of users. It's got channels. It's got people talking, the ability for all of these people, they can all share their own files. You know, I'm sure this was never used for anything nefarious or untoward or illegal, even once. And it's really cool. Now, here's the social encryption awesomeness that Ija created back in the day. In this, it's called groups, we can add entropy, which is just like an extra layer of randomness that gets mixed in with the cryptography. And in this case, it can be a file, a URL to a file, or a passphrase. So I can enter some text here. We'll call that a passphrase. I can pick the cipher and the key size and a bunch of details about this line of entropy. And I mean, hell, I could add 5 more of these if I wanted. I could make this one a URL to a JPEG of an NFT. I could, whatever. We'll just enter another password for now. It's fine. And then I can reconnect to this server. And when I do, the server looks completely different. Why? Well, now everything that is sent and received from the server is done so using these layers of extra entropy. Extra, let's call it encryption to simplify. Only people that also have these exact same multiple layers of entropy added with the same cipher, same key size, same hash, same exact content of the password or file or whatever. Only the people that have all that exactly the same can see me on this server right now, can see anything I type, can see any files I share, anything. It's all end-to-end encrypted, and it's beautiful, beautiful privacy. This was a world first, and I am shocked that more people didn't know about DaemonSaw. It's been around for quite a while. I loved it. We ran a DaemonSaw server for Disenthrall for a good while. Things it doesn't have that we got spoiled and used to with things like Discord. It doesn't have voice chat. It doesn't have screen sharing, things like that. But the core fundamentals of an end-to-end encrypted, self-hostable, like no central server, so impossible to censor communication and file sharing platform, community platform, is what Ija has created. And I have just massive respect for Ija's work over probably half his life on these types of technology. And so when I heard years ago that he had started work on a new thing, and I think I heard about this in a DaemonSaw chat years ago, actually, I was so excited, so insanely excited that I practically hounded him. I practically harassed him for years to see how I could help. Can I help create it? Can I help run servers for people? How can I be involved? Can I help you test it? Can I help you find bugs and bug fix it? And can I help you evangelize it? Just let me know. I want to help. It's amazing. Because I knew that whatever he was going to create was just going to be badass. Well, guess what? He's almost done. He's about to launch it. It's public demo. He's been betaing it for, and I can't just say he, because it's actually, he formed a company and they have a team of some really cool people now. The company's called Code Siren. And they've been betaing it for about a year. The Disenthrall Anarchast community has been insanely lucky to have been granted early access to run our own server. And I gotta thank my audience for graciously going along with the testing, which has been rocky. Of course, it's a beta. There's been issues. We've had to recreate the server multiple times, whatever. But all that's behind us for the most part now. It's a really solid, even though it's still in beta, it's a really solid system now. And so I'm sort of finally excited. I've been waiting to make this video for like a literal year. And so I'm so glad that I can actually do it now. I'm super excited. Okay, so Ija formed Code Siren, got a bunch of really cool people together, and they're doing this for real. They're going to make, unlike DaemonSaw, which was more of an open source attempt at making something like that work, they are actually taking this seriously. And it was so critical and for me to see that they're taking this seriously as a software product, because, and I'm not going to turn this into a rant on open source software and the failings of it, but I'm definitely going to do a video where I talk about that. So many open source projects fail. They fail to monetize. They fail to be properly reviewed in terms of security and privacy and cryptography. And they fail. They fail either through lack of development, lack of funding. They have some fatal flaw that gets exposed in part because they're open source that doesn't get patched, and so they lose trust of people, and they're not able to really take off. And so I was so glad to hear when, you know, he formed Code Siren, they're going to do this for real and not just sort of half-ass an open source project. And again, I'm not going to turn this into an open source software rant, but they are targeting, seriously going to try and target, competing with Discord, competing with Slack and Microsoft Teams and like Telegram groups. And I think they're going to do it, guys. There's a risk that companies take, like big corporations, when they contract with Google Apps or when they contract with Microsoft Teams, for example, and they run their entire corporate infrastructure using these Microsoft products or these Google products. Microsoft and Google and Discord can often see much of everything that you type or enter or upload or share on their system. Again, it's their system, their computers. It's not the cloud. It's just Microsoft servers in Microsoft buildings somewhere. And there's all sorts of security and privacy implications for that from the corporate perspective. Things like corporate espionage, your trade secrets, your private technology can be leaked. Why? Well, there's a whole lot of employees that can potentially have access to things that you communicate about or upload or whatever when you're using these third-party companies' stuff. So right off the bat, the first thing Polynom has over all of this main competition is that it's self-hostable. There is no central server. You can run your own. And we have been for Disenthrall, as you can see on screen. The only people that can censor this is literally me and me because I'm the admin. I call the shots and I'm culpable for whatever I allow on my server. And you can be connected to as many servers as you want. You don't just have to connect to Disenthrall, obviously. You can connect to your own server. You can connect to 50 other people's servers and other community servers. So right off the bat, this gives everyone, us liberty lovers that are looking for digital sovereignty and that are looking for people to get out of the way of our digital connections with people, this is it. Everybody can run their own server. We can all have our groups. We can connect. We can converse. We can have as many of these identities as we want. We can have 5 identities per server if that's, you know, how they want to do it. If that's how you want to do it, that's great. And I'm just so excited. Okay, so let's get back to the client. This client is currently connected to the Disenthrall server, as you know. It is completely visually customizable, so it also has that going for it. Unlike most of these other services, we can almost completely change how this thing looks. And I'll probably kind of do that as we sit here. So I'm just going to like drag this bar over on the left, just because I think that screens that are wider than they are tall need to use more horizontal space than vertical space, but you know, that's just me, whatever. And then I can start customizing it visually. And this, I mean, I've rarely seen a program as customizable as this one. So let me just kind of show you. I'm going to try and like go through how I have mine set up. So I'm just going to start changing some of these colors to what I like to have them. I kind of like the default cyberpunk sort of look, but I think I also like it to be a little bit darker, and I also like having it customized to sort of look like Disenthrall a little bit more. So in my case, I have like a Disenthrall theme that I have gotten very used to entering in here. I'm almost done here. There's just like 20 more colors that I can set. That's so customizable. Now we're going to do like the window background. Now we'll make our icons bright ass yellow. Got that cyberpunk look to it. We're still going. All right, 2 colors left. There we go. I can pick from multiple sets of icons, multiple fonts, font styles. I can change the row style, so hopefully nobody's saying anything on the Disenthrall chat right now that's going to get banned on YouTube. No? Okay, cool. So I can change the row style. So like, I like this chamfered look where the corners are cut off. I can change, like, all these are circles. Well, circles, in my opinion, are kind of lame. I'm going to go with these because I think that looks cool. And let's see, that's not enough. Let's go to wallpapers and let's pick a Disenthrall background. Let's make it a little more transparent. Let's blur it a little bit. So you can't really see it right now, but it's slightly blurred and kind of more transparent, so it's not too distracting. There's that. Now, I also like there to be sort of an outline on the boxes. Can't really see it. Anyway, so you get the idea. There's a whole mess of customization options. It pretty much looks very little like what I started with. The colors are completely different. It's got the Disenthrall background on it. I just love playing with this and coming up with different themes. Now there are, like I said, you can have many identities. You can manage them here. You can export them if you need to move them or copy them between devices or save them, back them up. Backing them up is pretty important for something like this. It has voice communication, so you can set your voice devices. Yeah, it's just a whole lot of awesomeness. Okay, so now let's get into the features. Obviously, it's as a replacement for things like Discord and Slack, it's going to have text chat channels. In this case, you can add pretty much, I have to be careful what I expand here because we have some more adult-oriented rooms for sharing memes and such. So we're not gonna do a full scroll of the Disenthrall server, but I do want to kind of show you what's up. So if you've been on the Disenthrall Discord server, a lot of these channels are going to, you're going to recognize them from the setup that we had there. All kinds of different conversations going on. We have like 25 different meme rooms for all kinds of different memes. It's actually kind of glorious. We have voice chat, which works just like Discord, kind of how you're used to. Screen sharing isn't quite in yet. That's coming in a future beta, I believe, but voice chat works great. The advantage of all of this is that it's end-to-end encrypted. And for the rooms that are encrypted with extra keys, remember remember Demon Saw and remember social encryption? Well, guess what we have here in Polynom as well. We have social encryption, but we have an improved social encryption. Oops. Okay. Okay. These are the default keys that come with it, so I'm not sharing anything super secret here. So we can create a social encryption key, and let's say test key. And inside of here, we can give it an icon. Let's say broken heart. And inside of here, we can, just like we could in Demon Saw, add extra lines of entropy. The entropy can be password. It can be a file. I'm not sure if it can still be a URL. I bet you can. I think you used to be able to actually. So I think you probably still can. And so every line has content and assault, which is just kind of an additional piece of content that you add. So you can add multiple lines of entropy, just like you could on Daemon Saw. The advantage of this, though, is that like over on Daemon Saw, when I enabled social encryption there, the whole rest of the server I was cut off from. When I was using the social encryption, I couldn't see all the normal conversations. This is even more intelligent. It will use the encryption keys in places where it's appropriate, and then still let you talk in the other channels when it's appropriate. So, for example, in our main text channel, this doesn't use any social encryption. New people that join the server will be able to talk in here. Then we have other channels, which you will not be able to see. I will not be able to see with this client right now. Let's say our meme channels. I'm really kind of nervous to even click on some of these. So let's just click on this one. Okay, so you can see here exactly what someone without the keys sees, which is nothing. So all the files of the memes are encrypted. The file name's encrypted. The file itself is encrypted. We can't see them because we don't have the key installed. If you join the server and you want access to it, you can ask one of the admins. And if you agree to the rules of the server, you will be given access to the key and you'll be able to see everybody's memes and participate in these channels. We have other channels that use different keys. We have our supporters channels that have we have a text chat and we have a file room where I can share files that only the supporters should have access to. So this is how, going forward, I'm not using any other mechanism anymore. I'm not trying to use Discord anymore. I'm not using any other website. If you're a supporter, your exclusive supporter-only content will be put here, and supporters will get the keys to these rooms. And we have a few other rooms and a few other things like that. Even voice chat. So file rooms, voice rooms, and text rooms can have one of these social encryption keys associated with it. And people that participate in those rooms have to have that key. Otherwise, they can't see, download, or hear anybody else talking. It is completely end-to-end encrypted. And here's the coolest thing, is that not even the person running the server can see the content of what you put in there if it's using social encryption keys that the server owner or admin doesn't have. That's kind of crazy. DMs also end-to-end encrypted using identities. So not even the server owner can't see what's going on in your DMs, even if he wanted to. Even if the server owner was, I don't know, was raided and had guns pointed at his head and was like, divulge the contents of the DMs from this identity. The server admin would be like, well, here it is, but it's a bunch of post-quantum encrypted garbage. Good luck. And so that's what we're dealing with here. Unlike Matrix and unlike other services that offer even end-to-end encryption using modern non-post-quantum computing cryptography, this is PQC. So how do I convey the advantage of that? Traditional cryptography, I'm pretty confident, inside of the next 5 years, is going to be broken by quantum computing. Yeah, Patrick, but the quantum computers, cost millions and billions, and only, the government and whatever will have access to them. And so by the time they get those computers, then I'll stop using things like Matrix. Because by the time they get those computers, then I'll start using quantum stuff like Polynom. Well, here's the thing. Governments, and we know this to be true, this has been shown, they're saving, it's called save now, decrypt later, is their plan. And so what they're doing is they're running these massive data dragnets where they're saving everything that they might want access to later that uses current day encryption for when they do get the quantum computers, which they can then use to decrypt stuff that they saved 5 years ago today. So when they do get their quantum computer, what you're saying now and what you've been saying since they've started saving everything, or they're not saving everything, but since they've started saving what they're interested in, they'll have access to in the future. So if you want your communications today to be safe 6 years from now, you need to be taking this stuff seriously now. You need to be taking your privacy seriously now. And this program gives you that capability. Cool. Okay, so what else do I want? Let me look at my notes here. We've talked about Code Siren. We've talked about Ija, a little bit about his background. I showed you Demon Saw. Let's see. So the Discord server admins will be familiar with like role-based permissions. You can have multiple roles for your user and control which user levels have access to what channels, and limit people's ability to upload files so they don't, just like upload, no one would ever do this, but like upload, a bunch of movies or anything like that, or music. And, yeah. So, let's see. I talked about files, voice comms, PQC encryption, quantum rooms. Oh, okay. This is another, I'm pretty sure, world's first for something like this. Okay. So over in our encryption keys, we created this test key here. Actually, let's delete this one because I didn't actually add any entropy to it. Let's just use this test key one that came sort of built in, right? When we click on this little tab right here that looks like a key, we now see a list of our keys. Huh. Well, why do we have a list of keys in two places? Oh, because these are turning your keys into quantum chat rooms. What? Okay, so I don't have permission to enter quantum rooms. Okay, yeah, so I have this restricted on my Disenthrall server. Let me go over here and grant this identity. Let's see, what does this identity look like? Yellow shirt, kind of Star Trek outfit. We're gonna give him a promotion. Okay. And now we're gonna reconnect to the server now that we've got a promotion. Hopefully yeah, there we go. Okay. Quantum rooms. So it just turned one of our social encryption keys into an ephemeral chat room. Now you know what chat room is. Let me talk about ephemeral. Ephemeral means, first of all, only the people that have the same key as you can join this room and talk in here. They can't even join this room if they don't have the key. This room doesn't even exist as far as they know if they don't have the key. So it's sort of even more private than these rooms over here. Like I don't have the meme key on this client, so I can't see these memes in these meme chat rooms, but I can see that the meme chat room exists, and I can see that people are posting things in here. I just can't see it. Well, unlike those, if I don't have the key, I can't even see that this room exists. The people that do have the key can see and use this room and can read and type to each other. They can even attach files here, depending on the way the person that owns the server set up the permissions. I've tried to be real careful with the Disenthrall server because, if people upload gigs and gigs of files, I have to pay for that. So if people want to keep doing that, then maybe we'll have to ask for donations to run the server, or maybe donations for upload permissions, something like that. Anyway, so in these quantum chat rooms, they're ephemeral. And what I mean by that is the contents of them gets completely purged from the server when no one has been in the room for about a minute. So if there's 10 people in here and we're all typing and having super secret conversations and maybe we're sharing files or whatever, and then we leave and we close the program or we go to another chat channel, a minute from now, the complete contents of our conversation, which is already end-to-end encrypted on the server such that nobody without the key can see it, is completely expunged from the server and disappears forever. It's gone without a trace. How freaking cool is that? And what I love about this is that you can tell from the people involved and from the program and how it functions itself. You can tell that the people involved have their priorities straight in how they're developing it. they're not looking for ways to find out who you are. They're actively looking for ways to not know who you are. They're looking for ways to not do things like limit the number of identities you can have, or have your identities registered with their central server, or when you start the client, it connects to their server to verify, that you have permission to use it or whatever. None of that. Like, you are a sovereign, a digital sovereign when you're using this software. It's what the world needs. It's the answer to so much of the tyranny that we're having online right now. And that, I think, is a pretty good overview, at least to get you started, of Polynom. And this is enough information for at least for you to be able to connect to the Disenthrall server and start talking and exploring and asking questions and finding out more. We're lucky enough to have a couple of the people that work for Code Siren in our Disenthrall server. So if we're having questions and problems, we can report our bugs, which helps them, and we can ask them questions, which helps us. And it's been really, really cool so far. So grab this program, grab Polynom, come on by our server and enjoy freaking future-proofed, solid encryption, freedom, awesomeness. So that's kind of the end of the video. I have to also mention, I don't have to, but I'm gonna, that one of the things that I did as a technology entrepreneur to put my weight behind this project, however I could, to put my resources behind this project, is I realized that not everyone knows how to, or wants to learn how to, or even if you know how to, they don't want to do it because they don't have the time or resources or effort to do it in a safe, secure, private way, run their own servers for your communities. And so, I'm constantly putting out ideas and putting out projects to help the Liberty communities out there in the world do better in terms of privacy and security. Those of you that follow this channel for a long time remember voluntary.one, which was, it still is, it's basically a small-time reseller account that I set up with Proton Mail. So for people that want all of the features of a Proton Mail, encrypted email and calendar and cloud storage and amazing VPN setup, and you want it under maybe a little cheaper under a voluntarist related domain name, voluntary.one instead of proton.me or whatever, go check that out. It's not that's not a business for me, by the way. That's something I do on the side to help people that are cool. So anyway, but I have a long history of creating projects and efforts to help us Liberty lovers. And that was the inspiration for when I formed a company called ZeroEyes Hosting. The name is supposed to be a direct rebuttal to the Five Eyes countries, which are the 5 big countries that have information sharing deals with each other to skirt their own laws, right? So we have laws that, well, we supposedly have laws in the United States that prevent our government from spying on us without warrants, right? Oh, well, can the EU spy on you? Sure. Well, so what if the US government just asked the EU to hand over whatever they spied on you? That's not illegal, right? Well, no, it's not. Okay, so the US government can spy on you sort of tangentially. Oh, loophole. Okay. So these Five Eyes countries have sort of signed a pact with each other to do just that, to get around their own laws protecting their own citizens, to spy on them. Anyway, so the name of the company is ZeroEyes Hosting. The idea is, and I'm doing this seriously, I'm trying to do this right and do this big. I want to create a hosting company that I, as a user, would want to use. That I, as a user, could, I won't say trust, because you should never trust anybody, but do the best possible job I possibly can at being a trustworthy, safe, private hosting company for people. The website is ZeroEyes.host. I think if you go there, like literally today when this video comes out, we have it in maintenance mode because we had some things that we had to fix before we open it back up for everybody. But if you check back in a couple days, we should be up and rolling. If you need a Polynom server for your Liberty related group and you don't want to go through the intricacies of doing that yourself privately, hit us up. Contact me either on the ZeroEyes website or DM me on Discord or DM me on Polynom or wherever, and we'll get you set up with a server for your Liberty group. If you have a Liberty group on Telegram right now or on Matrix right now, get off those old technology shitty spy apps and get your community a Polynom server, and let's try and improve our entire community's efforts and sophistication in the privacy department. Yeah, guys, that's it. I think we're at the end of the video. If you have any questions, join our Polynom server and ask away. Let's do this. All right, guys, thanks for watching.